Yeah, let's just unplug it. Yeah, that's good. This is distracting.
Hi,
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Oh my goodness.
How's everything?
Good. It's a small room. Oh, it's hot.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you want me to sit?
Right there.
Right here? Oh, okay, very good.
Good.
This is great.
All right.
Mayor's on his way too.
Okay, good.
I got the testimony.
Oh,
She's
fantastic.
doing it right now.
Oh, great. And they said the mayor's on his way. He'll be
Yep.
This is Chad Audi.
Yes.
Have you met
We
Chad?
have before,
we
yes.
did.
Yes. We talked on the phone too a few times.
Yes, we have. Good to see you again.
Good seeing you as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Yes.
Okay, great.
You got both boxes.
Okay. It's in there. Thank you very much.
Mike. If you need audio checklist, let me know. All of this.
Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me clearly, loud and clear?
Go ahead again.
Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, gotcha. Thank you.
Yep, yep. Yep.
Yeah, they told me yesterday at Torah. Hey, Sharon. What you said, partner?
Good to see you. You know Greg? Through Zoom, but we never met in person.
Right here.
It's impossible. Oh,
Yeah, I know. I think it's a little easier just to do this today.
Mr. Mayor,
There we go.
Mr. Exec, right here. You bet. A little comfy in here.
I don't want to block the,
Yeah.
which was up last night doing that.
Homework.
Yeah, that's right. Come on up.
I got my detailed speech.
I got a couple words I know. So. Madam Health Director. Right in here. Warm though. That's the upside.
Why? Good to see you.
And
you doing a
where's
personal testimonial?
where's Brother Bernstein?
I don't think you knew. He was at the hall talking about diabetes. Yeah, that's all.
Personal testimonial.
And
Yeah, of
where's
Didn't you
Chad?
learn when you were pregnant?
Just walked out.
It's on Instagram
Oh, okay.
4 times a day. Yeah.
That's fine. Yep. Put it right on top. Chad, you want to kick us off? Standard.
Yep.
Good afternoon. My name is Chad Audie, and I'm the president and CEO of Detroit Rescue Mission Ministries. I'm here to welcome you to one of our facilities here in Detroit. This is our latest facility that we opened for a homeless population. Detroit Rescue Mission Ministries has been here for the last 115 years. We've been serving every day about 2,500 people from all walks of life. And we are the first to attest that a lot of our population has been impacted hardly with the high prices of the insulin and other medication that they've been undertaking. But we are very happy that this is happening today, because we know that will bring a lot of relief to the people that we are serving and seeing every day. I want to thank the mayor of Detroit for helping us on opening this facility to make sure that homeless people have a place to call home.
Cut it. Thank you. Here, I got you.
With his effort, we are able to continue to grow and make sure to protect the dignity and respect. So we're very grateful for the partnership that we have established with the city of Detroit. I think we are probably we are the only city across the country that we are accommodating honestly and protecting the dignity and respect of the homeless population that we see. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you for all the services and for this lawsuit that we think is going to bring justice to the people that we are serving. With this, I bring to the microphone my good friend and a good leader who knows nothing but justice and bring good justice to the people all over the place, especially the indigent population. Mr. Butch Hollowell.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
All right. And Detroit Rescue Mission Ministries is the gold standard as it relates to social services in this state, and we're so thankful that you've allowed us to use your home. Again, my name is Melvin Butch Hollowell. Where's my brother, Mark Bernstein? Okay. And on behalf of the Miller Law Firm, the Sam Bernstein Law Firm, as well as our partners at Weiss and Luxembourg and Robbins Geller. We are here to announce today that we filed lawsuits in the United States District Court for the District of New Jersey to hold the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world and the largest pharmacy benefit managers in the world to account for illegal price fixing as it relates to insulin products. And these are the first such lawsuits that have been filed in the state of Michigan, probably more to come. Behind me, you see the county executive from Wayne County and county executive from Macomb County, the mayor of Detroit, chair of the Board of Commissioners for Washtenaw County, the administrator for Monroe County. Combined, that's a third of all the citizens in the state of Michigan. So that represents about 3.2 million residents. And nationally, let me tell you what the scheme is. The pharmacies and the manufacturers get together. They control about 90% of the market each of the insulin market. They talk to each other secretly, and they jack up the prices through anti-competitive means. And what we've seen is over the past 20 years, when we talk about jacking up the prices, they've jacked them up 1,500% in the last 20 years. 1,500%. And these companies, Eli Lilly and Sanofi Aventis, I mean, they make the drugs that you're all familiar with, you know, Humalog and Lantus and the like, and CVS on the other side, Caremark, are involved in this scheme. It has cost millions and millions of dollars out of the coffers of our municipalities throughout the state, and we're asking for injunctive relief in front of the United States District Court, where they have been consolidated in the federal court in New Jersey. And it's a 146-page complaint. The allegations are allegations under the RICO statute, as well as the Sherman Antitrust Act, the Michigan Antitrust Act, and the Consumer Protection Act. We're seeking to halt that behavior. We're seeking to have compensatory and punitive damages. And bottom line, we want to stop the bad behavior. And so I turn it over to my partner, Mark Briscoe.
Thanks, Bush. I appreciate it. I just want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank all of these leaders who are stepping up to take a stand and make a difference with respect to this activity. The facts alleged in these federal complaints filed by these municipalities lay out an illegal pricing scheme used by these pharmaceutical companies and pharmacy benefit managers to artificially inflate the price of insulin. These are the primary defendants in this litigation. Some of the largest pharmaceutical companies and some of the largest pharmaceutical benefit enterprises in the United States. And we demand in these lawsuits, worth noting that these are the first of many to be filed in Michigan, where there are over 1 million people with diabetes, basically two things. One, that these defendants right here stop their disgraceful price gouging conduct, and two, these plaintiffs, these municipalities, just simply want their money back. I want to read one sentence from this complaint, this over 140-page complaint, but it really lays out what we're talking about today. In 1922, this is on page 200 count in the complaint. In 1922, Frederick Banting and Charles Best, while working at the University of Toronto, pioneered a technique for removing insulin from an animal pancreas that could then be used to treat diabetes. Banting and Best obtained a patent and then sold it to the University of Toronto for $1, explaining that, and I quote, "When the details of the method of preparation are published, anyone would be free to prepare the extract, but no one could secure a profitable monopoly." Well, this chart right here clearly displays the betrayal of this intention that Bush just talked about, and that these leaders will reference, of course. And you will hear more about the profound economic and health care related consequences that these defendants have caused. And that's really what this case is all about. So I'm going to now turn it over to, I think, to County Executive Warren Evans and Dr. Abdul Saeed to talk about how this is affecting Wayne County. And you guys take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the most significant part of that to me and probably the other elected officials around here is that this price gouging has affected our county. Wayne County's got probably about 20% of the population in Wayne County. is at the poverty level. Wayne County pays an awful lot of money for drugs, particularly insulin in this case, for its employees, and we've been gouged, and we know we've been gouged, and that money needs to be recouped. It's only right that we recoup it, but we also have so many other medical issues that we can help the community with, that to be assaulted financially like this for a period of time is just unconscionable. And I think that's what most of my colleagues here would say too. We want that money back. We want to be able to use that money for the kinds of things that will help make health care in Wayne County an easier thing to tackle and deal with. And this is something we've done before. I mean, it's similar but a little dissimilar with opioid litigation. We're not new to this, and the attorneys here are not new to being our attorneys in these matters. But I mean, it's significant, and when you think about it and you get a handle on the prices, think of how many people, I mentioned the marginal income, who can't even afford insulin in the first place. There are people out there actually foregoing insulin because they can't afford it, and there's nothing to show that the cost we pay for it is rationally based to the cost of producing it, R&D for it, none of those things. And so I personally am incensed that this has gone on so long, but I'm also cognizant of the fact that our employees deserve better. The county deserves better in terms of the amount that it's paying for these sorts of things. And as it trickles on down to people who would use this facility and others, cost is a major, major concern for them to be able to have insulin, which people critically need and in large numbers. And so I think this litigation will solve part of that problem. I think the spinoff from this litigation will do a lot to go downhill, if you will, to other related issues where the price is too high and it's being gouged. So we're really excited about it. We know we have, good attorneys here who have done this before, and I think we have committed municipalities here that see this as a regional problems, and we're trying to address them as best we can. I don't know who's next. Sure. My medical director, Dr. Abdul Sayed.
Thank you, Executive Evans. And I just want to pick up on the point that the county executive made, which is that what you're seeing here is a set of bar graphs. On the x-axis, the bottom axis, you're seeing annual income. And in the y-axis, that proportion is the number of people who are rationing their insulin, okay? Rationing their insulin. Mark mentioned Frederick Banting. When he sold that patent for $1, he said literally, insulin is for the world. And what all of these corporations are telling us is actually insulin is for the back pockets of the investors of Lilly and Sanofi and Novo Nordisk and Optum, but it's not for the people who actually need to use it. Because look at this, $50,000 to $100,000, right? The median income in America is about $75,000, right? Just about the same here in Michigan, a little bit lower in Wayne County. 39% of folks who need insulin are rationing it. And I just want you to understand what that means. That means that if you're not getting enough insulin, your blood sugar is routinely too high, and that you are running the risk of long-term consequences, loss of hearing, loss of sensation in your legs, cardiovascular disease, stroke. And that's routine for 40% of people earning $50,000 to $100,000. And this is exactly what we're trying to take on here. So this ought to be a countywide, a statewide, a national effort, and it's amazing to see how many elected officials and folks are behind this. So I'm going to go ahead and cede the stage, but I did want to share that so folks understand exactly how many people are being affected based on what County Executive Evans has shared. And I just want to appreciate the leadership of the lawyers taking this on, Executive Evans, and all the elected officials here.
Thanks, Abdul. Mayor?
Whatever you want. Come on. I got it. No worries. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Again, at the risk of turning us into another Bernstein commercial.
We have enough of this.
Sorry, I can't help it. But again, Mayor Duggan and myself, Mike and myself, we had, this is almost like deja vu. A while back, we did use the Bernstein advantage because we had a challenge with the opioid crisis that we were facing, and I think many of you remember that. And the question was back then from the media and others as to, why are you going after these manufacturers? Why are you going after the distributors? Do you think you're going to be successful? Well, what they did then is reminded us of what happened with the tobacco industry and the settlements we'd seen from that, because that was questionable that we're taking on, these big companies, these big industries. Well, when we decided to go after the manufacturers, distributors with the opioid crisis that was going on, the intent back then was very simple for me. It wasn't about trying to figure out how do we make money and how do we get a settlement from that, although that we knew that was a potential or possibility, was to try to figure out how do we stop that that challenge, the influx of opioids coming into our communities. And boy, I'll tell you, the minute we filed those lawsuits, you could tell probably within a 3-4 month period, there was a slowing down of manufacturing and distribution of the opioids in and around communities, not just in Macomb County, the city of Detroit, across the southeast Michigan or state of Michigan, across the country, because we got their attention. And we saw that that was the main goal, in my opinion, was to try to figure out how do we stop this crisis, because it was a problem for all of us, and people were dying as a result. And so what we ended up finding was obviously the settlements were very transformative and having us help people with these particular issues moving forward. This is something different, as has been mentioned already. These are people that need this drug. They're people that are looking for it, and the unfortunate reality is we're seeing this collusion taking place on behalf of the pharmacies, the pharmaceutical companies, and with that, the pricing of it. By example, in Macomb County, one of our highest costs when it comes to employees are not just wages, it's fringe benefits. And right now, when it comes to health care costs for retirees and active personnel working for the county, this 2024 budget cycle is going to be about $64 million we are going to be paying for health care. But just think about this one drug we're talking about, insulin. $1.5 million we attribute to that $64 million cost. That's about 2%. 2% of that cost is going towards this insulin cost that we're seeing. And some may not think about this and they don't really pay attention to it, but it's not just with our retirees and those that are active employees. We have a jail to maintain. And we have to deal with managed care for inmates that are in those facilities. And many of those people in there are accused of a crime but have not yet been found guilty of a crime. So we do have to provide that care for them while they're in there. Well, that cost is attributed to the contracts that we have to, I guess, get into with these particular companies, as well as what we have is a facility for juveniles. So there's a tremendous cost, and let's face it, when it comes to communities, and Macomb County is probably no different than many others, when you talk about the 3 different chronic diseases or challenges that we're facing, heart disease is one of the top issues we talk about. We also, know that cancer is a concern. But diabetes is a huge problem, not just in Macomb County, but southeast Michigan and across the country. And so people need the insulin, they need the support, and as was mentioned, if they're not able to afford it, they're going to be making very bad choices for their health moving forward, which creates other problems moving forward, and then there's a huge cost associated with that as well. So we're very fortunate to have the support of these law firms to help us to try to figure out how do we manage this, to drive costs down, but more importantly, what I believe is potentially saving lives for people that truly do need this insulin and at a reasonable cost. So I think now I could turn it over to Mayor Mike Duggan of the City of Detroit. Mike?
Well, I fully support this litigation, and have today sent a request to City Council to authorize retaining these law firms to take on this very important issue. I spent 9 years running the Detroit Medical Center, the hospital system that saw more uninsured patients than any system in Michigan. And it was heartbreaking to see the effect of untreated diabetes. We would have patients coming into the emergency rooms at Receiving or Sinai Grace almost on a daily basis who had to face having part of their foot amputated or their leg amputated because the diabetes hadn't been treated. We have people who lost their eyesight, literally went blind, because diabetes hadn't been treated. And nothing made me angrier than the fact that if you did go to a drugstore and try to buy insulin here, it actually costs 10 times higher in the state of Michigan than if you went across the river to Canada. This is the price gouging that is being litigated nationally. President Biden took a great step when he essentially imposed $35 a month insulin charges
for Medicare recipients. So if you're over 65, the federal government has protected you. But in the city of Detroit, we have more than 1 out of 6 of our residents who are suffering from diabetes today. And if they aren't on Medicare, they're subject to this same gouging. And I think the folks nationally who have led on this have done a great job. I saw a report earlier today that the state of Minnesota settled with one of the pharmaceuticals to cap insulin for all of Minnesota residents at $35. And that's what we're looking for in Detroit. I'm not looking for a check for the city of Detroit. I'm looking for a settlement that allows our residents to be able to afford that treatment. And I think with the lawyers we have on this case, we have an excellent chance to be successful. And I also have the health department director with us. Of course, Dr. El Sayed was her predecessor, but I have a health director who can tell you a personal story about diabetes. And so please get a chance to hear from Denise Fair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I am honored to be here today, and while I can stand here and talk about how health disparities have been impacted in the Black community due to the high insulin prices, or I can talk about how reducing the price of insulin can impact access to care, or even highlight the financial burden that high prices place on families, at the end of the day, this is personal to me. I was pregnant last year, and I had gestational diabetes. That's when diabetes occurs throughout the pregnancy. I had extremely high blood sugar. It was so high that one of the options was to be hospitalized for a couple of days. And I needed to take extra care of myself as well as my baby. Because of this new diagnosis, I had to take insulin 4 times a day. This was highly uncomfortable, but it was necessary. So I do understand how important this life-saving drug is, not only for me, but also for my community. My son turned 9 months today, and I know that if I did not have access to insulin, there could have been major problems during my delivery. I'm also very concerned about seniors. You have heard the other county executives talk about how our seniors may not have access. They may not be able to afford the medication, and it makes them difficult to manage their diabetes. They have to ration their care. So one day they may take, one day then wait to take their insulin, and we know this could impact their care. So we want to change the behavior, and we want to reduce pricing. The mayor mentioned this, that 1 in 6 Detroiters have insulin or have diabetes, and that's extremely high. So as a health officer for the city of Detroit, along with my colleagues today, we are advocating for a reduction in insulin pricing because no one should worry about how much it costs to have this life-saving drug, and everyone should have the opportunity to thrive. So we need to ensure that all individuals, regardless of socioeconomic status, can have access to this much-needed medication and meet them where they are so that they can manage their diabetes. Thanks, and I return it back over to Butch.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mike Bisonic. I'm the Monroe County Administrator and Chief Financial Officer. I represent the smallest community on the platform here today, but the impact to the residents of Monroe County is no less impactful in terms of the insulin pricing than any of the comments that you've already heard from the other leaders who are behind me. It's unfortunate that Monroe County's medical costs for our employees and our retirees were higher than the market price due to the actions of the defendants as outlined in our complaint and within our lawsuit. In Monroe County, we could have used that money for many other things to help our community, from providing additional police officers to keep our community safe, to providing additional parks and recreational opportunities for our citizens, to essential public services to make our communities a better place to live and to work. You know, we're fine with capitalism, but the actions of the defendants here are not. As a result, Monroe County taxpayers were shortchanged through this price-fixing scheme and for the life-saving insulin provided to our employees and retirees. We were partners with the Miller Law Firm when it came to the opioid litigation. We're very successful there. Not successful so much in the amount of the settlement that came back, but the way that the behaviors of the pharmaceutical manufacturers and distributors changed what was going on. And for that, I think we're making a significant improvement in the lives of our citizens. And our goal as a county is that the same thing happens when it comes to the pricing of insulin, so that people who need insulin are able to get it, they can afford it, and they can go on to live very healthful and productive lives. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Justin Hodge. I'm the chair of the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners. Investing in health equity is a top priority for us in Washtenaw County, and we know that insulin is a life-saving drug that many people are denied. We know that health issues traverse county boundaries and all municipalities. What we want to do is be in partnership with all of our other leaders here, as we have in previous litigation, to be able to make sure that we can take care of everyone in Washtenaw County and across our region. Everyone, I'm sure, in this room is affected by diabetes. I know, thinking back, growing up, there have been times when my mom had to ration insulin because of challenges affording it. So this is something that we're really committed to, and really grateful to be here, to be part of the team here.
Thank you. I think that's it. And so if there are any other questions, otherwise we can make ourselves available for any other questions that you might have.
Do you mind a couple quick ones?
Sure.
I'm curious, when we, kind of what the mayor said in regard to seeking, caps or for the broader community, cheaper access. It was referenced roughly 20 years in terms of the figures, and are you seeking damages for 20 years? Is there an amount you're seeking? Or how do you even go about determining that?
So it's multi-layered. First, we want reimbursement for the amount that has been overcharged over that 20-year period. We have good evidence as it relates to what that is. Second, we want to make sure that we get whatever punitive damages are available to us under the legal theories that we've put forth under RICO and antitrust and other laws. And third, I think, as has been said by the mayor and the county executives, is that we want to change behavior. So we'd like to have, in the end, a cap that would be placed on insulin care, as well as a stop in the behavior, a stop in the bad behavior. We've asked for a jury trial, and so the next step, now that these complaints have been filed, is we've got to serve each one of the defendants the complaint, and then they're going to have to answer. There will be a period where there'll be motions and briefing and the like, but like any other lawsuit, there'll be the back and forth in that, but like with the opioids case, which we handled, our view is that we can, once we win, which we believe very confidently we will do, we'd like to change behavior. And think of it this way. Every dollar that the city or the county spends for this overcharging is a dollar less that's available for a firefighter or a police officer or to fix a road. It's really that simple. We shouldn't be in this situation. It's personal to me too. Denise was saying, my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in his mid-20s, and he was a bodybuilder and a personal trainer. He had a keto acidosis twice, went into a diabetic coma twice. We almost lost him. And so this was a kid that's, really was in otherwise good health. So diabetes doesn't discriminate in terms of who it goes after. But as the mayor said, when you think about how angry you get because it goes so untreated and because of the costs and the devastating impacts to our community, we've got to put this to a stop. Mark?
If I may, one quick one, and I know people want to break out, but was there ever talk of talking to the Justice Department perhaps and looking at potential criminal charges in this type of a situation? I mean, we're going after financial, we're going after pricing, but does this border on criminal behavior in terms of how lives are impacted and the socioeconomic impact in particular?
I can't speak for anyone other than our clients. That's all I'll say. So from a policy standpoint, I do know that the administration has put in place for those who are eligible for Medicare, a cap, and that's a good thing. But as it relates to criminal behavior, this is a civil suit, and we don't have just jurisdiction over that. We only have control over what we have control over. Yeah. Mark, did I?
No, that's it. Thank
Yeah.
you. We can just separate, and if you have any questions, we can answer them individually. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Mark?